Hey friends, it's John. You're on the JRB Tree Climbing channel. There is a dedicated page on my website for this, the Longhorn Agile Friction Hitch. There's a dedicated video and a number of supporting videos. In one of those videos entitled the Longhorn Agile Hitch 7 Compact and Shackle Mode Options, trick number 4 was showing you how to tie it in such a manner that you still get 2 load loops, but you could even get a ring on that. Now that won't make a lot of sense to you if you haven't watched that video, because you're used to tying it this way, where you simply have 2 load loops and you pop on a carabiner. So I'm going to show you how to get this built, and here I have it built. Instead of a ring, I've got a really crude pulley with simply a piece of webbing, a pretty crude pulley, but I can get piece of cord through there for a very lossy pulley. And I'll be using this in my platform attachment in conjunction with the Blake's Hitch tensioner. And I needed to make sure that you know how to tie this. And we're just going to call it the Longhorn Agile Hitch with the stable finish. Now, what do I mean by stable? Well, if you climb with the Longhorn Agile Hitch, and here I've got it in 7mm cord. I tied this with 84 inches, 5 wraps, everything as per the length specifications in the tables on the webpage. And this is on brand new 9mm rope. It's not even on the market yet. Ape Canyon's going to have this rope for sale soon. Now, let's say you built this climbing system and you were walking around the woods with your friction hitches pre-tied, or it was in your bag. There is a risk that if I shake this and shake it and shake it, that I can get it, if I can get this loop to destabilize and come out, which is possible, it's about to happen, that you could get your friction hitch into this kind of a position, or it could all fall off completely, or you might in the darkness not notice and tie onto this and this, and the friction hitch starts to fall apart or falls off completely. The stable mode, as the name would imply, is more stable. So let me tie that for you now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now I'm assuming you know how to tie the Longhorn Agile Hitch, so I'm not taking you through this in detail. You got to see that prior video on tying the Longhorn Agile Hitch. This is how we started. Let's get that set properly. What I'm calling stable mode is simply, so that's why I tied it. I'm going to flip it around to the back side. I'm going to take the end that comes out of that center nugget on the Longhorn. I'm going to shorten that loop so it's just big enough to get my finger through it. And then I'll take the long loop and pass it through there. Now, if I were to stop right here, I'd have the single loop variant. Got a dedicated video on that for a single loop. But the load characteristics are just slightly different in terms of how it loads the upper part of the hitch. If we want it to be balanced on those 2 strands, watch what I do. I simply take this, fold it over, and then draw these through. I've just transformed that into a Longhorn Agile and stable mode. And if you examine the bottom closely, and we'll zoom in for this, this side has still got 50% of the load on these 2 lines. And the other side comes up here and effectively has created a reef knot around this side. So 50% of the load is on this loop. It's loaded the exact same way. The loading characteristics on the upper part of the hitch are the same way. It's more compact now, but it's more stable. So once I've got that set and loaded, now if I subject it to that same test, I'm not saying it's impossible to destabilize, but it's much more difficult to destabilize. This is a more stable configuration and slightly more compact. Now, if you tied your Longhorn Agile Hitch and your loops were really, really small, this might not be possible to get it in this configuration. But with the recommended, if you look at the length specs, I've got the one that I call the money configuration, which has got loops that are 3.5 to 4 inches long, depending on diameter. You can usually get it into, you can always get it into this state. All right, so how would we take that Longhorn Agile and get a ring on it? Well, I'll simply do the same thing here. Doing the same thing, I just need enough room to get over the ring. So here's how we started. We started with a Longhorn Agile Hitch with 2 loops of even size. I shorten the loop that goes into that Longhorn nugget there. I take my ring, place it over the long loop, take the long loop and pass it through the small loop. Now, if I didn't have enough cord here, I wouldn't be able to get it opened up and around the ring. And I like this line to sit up. You know, it could sit here. I like it to sit up here. I find that to be the most stable. And so now we've got a Longhorn Agile Hitch that we can open, and on the fly we could add this ring, or if we leave the ring there, it's going to be nice and stable. It's not going to go anywhere. And here, and I'm going to retie this one from scratch. These two were on 9mm rope. This was 7mm cord. This was 6mm cord. Over here, I have the exact configuration I'll be using in my platform attachment. This is 6mm cord on 8mm rope, and I used 76 inches of 6mm TRC to create this very crude version. And what I did, because I have what would be rope on rope contact, I am using a piece of tubular webbing over the 2 strands of TRC to give me, again, a crude pulley. This will wear greatly on, depending on how much use we give it and how much tension it has. It will put a great deal of wear on that webbing, but that's okay. We can always pop it off and replace it. I'm going to untie this and let's retie it. This is 76 inches of TRC, and I am pinching the point which represents 12-inch working ends. I'm going to tie this at normal speed. The building block for the Longhorn Agile Hitch is the Longhorn Hitch, and we tie it this way. Refer to my video on tying the Longhorn Hitch. Once we get fluent with this, it's like a long version of tying our shoes. This quick demonstration is merely showing you how quickly we can tie it once we're fluent with it. But I'm assuming you have that in your arsenal, and right now just demonstrating it as a building block for the Longhorn Agile. Just like we all got up this morning and tied our shoes and didn't think about it, that's the way I tie my Longhorn hitches. And now I'm going to tie a Longhorn Agile. And as per the length specifications, and see my video on the human measuring stick, I can measure out 18 inches pretty well just using my body. And then, and that's on the left loop, I'll make 5 wraps. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And at that top wrap, I go horizontal and down, across the front, around the back twice. Once, twice. Now I've done it right. Got just enough room to get my pinky finger through that aperture. Lengthen the other side. and push it through. And slack is shared between these two sides. It should be running on the bottom. I can shorten or lengthen either side. Let's load that and just break it in. Okay. Now, I want to convert that into the stable finish option. So I'm going to shorten the loop, shortening the loop that goes into the Longhorn. And now I'm going to take that piece of webbing. Now, how did I decide how long? Well, I simply measured that and cut. So, for example, that would be about 3.5 inches. You want to leave, a good 1.5 on the end here. It's better to err on the side of cutting it a little long than a little short. When you cut your tubular webbing, I usually flame the ends, but you've got to be careful. If you flame that too long, it'll actually shrink in diameter and be difficult to get onto. It'll be difficult to get that onto the line. But that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take this and I'm going to pinch. So this is a lesson for us. 6mm cord does make it through. I can get it through with this 7. It's just a little tight. And of course 8 wouldn't work. I wouldn't be able to get 8mm through 1-inch webbing. It's a little tricky. Just got it through. I don't try to make it look easy. I try to make it look realistic. Okay, now we're going to take this longer loop, we're going to put it through the shorter loop, and we're going to pull enough through, just enough, to be able to get this whole thing over. It's a little bit of a squeeze. This is about as compact. That's why I chose it. 76 inches of 6mm cord on 8mm rope. That's about as compact as I can tie this. But it holds immediately. And again, if I ran a piece of cord through here, it becomes a poor man's pulley. Just a different finish option on the Longhorn Agile. I needed you to see that. I needed to give it a name because we're going to be using it in my platform attachment method. Thanks as always for your support.